This is the 2025 Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and there are tons of reviews on this vehicle out in the market for you to review. But we're going to start this one a little bit different. Did you know that there are more than 145 rap songs that include the name Range Rover in it? From Jay-Z's 20 Bag Shorty to Crazy in Love by Beyonce. According to Car and Driver, there are more songs that include the name Range Rover than any other type of music as it relates to a car. Sure, there's Ford Mustang and Ford Bronco, and they're traditionally in country music videos. But in the case of this, what makes the Range Rover the pinnacle, right? Why is it everybody wants a Range Rover? Is it branding? Is it capability? Is it status symbol? So as we kind of peel the layers of the onion back, if you will, and look at the Range Rover, predominantly the drivers of Range Rovers are females, women drivers, right? So it's all about status. Kim Kardashian, Range Rover. Justin Bieber, Range Rover. Kylie Jenner, Range Rover. Everyone seems to have a Range Rover. Professional football players, Range Rover, right? Basketball players, Range Rover. Baseball players, Range Rover. It truly does represent the pinnacle of automotive luxury. And maybe it starts with the fact that the king and queen, of England have always been about the Range Rover brand, specifically Land Rover and the Defender, right? So it goes back to that original heritage of what makes Range Rovers the top of the food chain. And that is all about their capability partnered up with luxury. And that's what you get with a Range Rover. So this is the 2025 Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that integrates electric technology into it. So you get the best of both worlds. You get to try out a little bit of electrification with 53 miles of range, but you also get a 3-liter i6 under the hood that's pushing out just under 500 horsepower. All right, you're watching Chasing Horsepower. Let's dig in and share with you guys what this new Range Rover is all about. All right, so before we talk about the exterior design, some of the things that make it unique, and get inside on the interior, do a little bit of driving, I just wanted to show you the key fob. It stays relatively the same for the new year, but it does have proximity entry, which is kind of cool. So if I were to lock the vehicle from here, proximity entry just means when I get close to the vehicle, the key fob is going to recognize that I'm getting close, and it's going to unlock the car door. So as I start to walk close, you'll be able to see as this key gets close to this door, see how that handle opens up? That's what proximity means. It's just easy access to the vehicle. And I really dig that, right? You're coming out of a Target, you got a grocery full of stuff, grocery cart full of stuff. It just makes it easy. One thing interesting about this, and normally I wouldn't spend as much time, but I'm a fast walker. Anyone that knows me, I'm fast. I'm kind of finding myself waiting to get into this vehicle a little bit, but that's okay. Great technology, and I do love the fact that the handles seamlessly slide right into the side of the vehicle. One of the vehicles you'll stack up against this, the Lincoln Aviator, the handles are out. And I think that's, we talk about rap videos and pinnacle of engineering excellence. That's what you kind of get with this. So let's talk about the exterior design, right? So it's kind of called, and I'm going to butcher the name, Charente Gray. Charente. I don't know, Charente Gray, Charente or something like that. But that's the color that they're giving this. To me, it almost looks like pewter, like a brown mixed with gray. So exterior design, you're looking at 21-inch black wheels, and I think the design of these wheels fit the Range Rover brand. Also, we always talk about filling that wheel well. What makes a car look good? It's filling that wheel well. And then you're running Pirelli Scorpion tires, right? So you think about Range Rover, you want to be at the top of the food chain. You're going to put Pirellis on it because Pirellis are considered to be the best tires in the market, right? You think of Formula One that are run on Pirellis. These are Pirelli tires right here with 21-inch wheels. So as we look at the exterior design, it's all about that word Teutonic, right? That means smooth. So when you make your way down the side, it's going to be a smooth look all the way down. Trim features on the hood and on the side just kind of give it a little bit more of a design, upscale luxury feature. They're going to go with the black mirrors on the side instead of making it monochromatic. And then you come all the way down, all the colors are going to match in. They're going to have the floating roof line. So you've got the floating roof line up on top. That helps differentiate it from other vehicles in the market. As you kind of make your way all the way down, we talk about that A pillar, B pillar, C pillar. Automakers are starting to rake vehicles from here back towards the back. What does that mean? Well, essentially what it means is that they want to give the vehicle more of a sporty look coming down the rear. So instead of a big boxy look like you've had in the past that comes up high, you're going to see in the Lincoln Aviator and the Range Rover, it's going to start to rake down in the rear, and it just gives it more of a performance-oriented stance. If you step back and look at this, this is all Range Rover. There's no other vehicle in the market that really, a lot of automakers are trying to aspire to be Range Rover, but no other vehicle really can emulate this. All right, so one thing really interesting about this Range Rover, because it's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, is you're gonna have a gas tank, you're gonna have a gas cover on one side, or a gas door on one side, then you're gonna have your plug-in hybrid electric door on this side. So you just pop this open. You can fast charge this as well, and as noted in the open, this gets about 53 miles of range. Real world testing is putting it between 45 and 48, but kind of cool that you can actually play around with that. We're going to talk more about what that means when we get behind the wheel and we drive. 21-inch wheels, LED lights seamlessly integrated into the rear of the vehicle. And then as we make our way all the way around, you've got that same embossed Range Rover name here on the back. Mild spoiler up on top with an LED light married up on top. Two, as I like to call them, shark fins up on top. This is just your connectivity, but one of them actually has a rear camera built into it, which is really unique. And then as you make your way down, you kind of step back and look. All Range Rover, just the way it's shaped, has the Sport on the left. You got a trailer hitch with just north of 7,000 pounds of towing capacity with the dual exhaust. Sensors and monitors down below for your rear backup camera, and even pedestrian detection as well. So it's got a lot of technology built into it. But overall, from a design standpoint, I think it's just a very clean and timeless look. And I think what's really unique about Range Rover as a whole is that if you look at this Range Rover and go back 20 years and look at a Range Rover, although they're totally different models and model years, there's similarities that carry over from design to design to design. Very similar to a Ford Mustang, and that's what keeps people loyal, is that same look doesn't deviate too much from the original engineering of a Range Rover. So let me start with this. I really like the front end design of the Range Rover, and here's why. A lot of vehicles just kind of come out and come straight down, but there's very much a rounded out front to this Range Rover. It just, to me, it visually looks cool, and I don't think there's any other vehicle on the market that emulates the front end design of a Range Rover quite like this. They're the original company behind big old embossed logos up on front. You know, I mean, it is just big and bold and right in your face, Range Rover, right? I think it looks fantastic, and it's just smooth and sleek all the way down. When I step back and I look at it, I just think it's got performance and elegance, but most importantly, like that timeless look. From the standpoint of an SUV, and they've done a great job with that. They've never gone away from their original Land Rover logo, and I dig it. It's never center mounted. It's usually always right here on this left side of the grille, giving it a good look. And of course, modern technology, you got the LED lights. They match the same look as the lights on the rear of the vehicle as well. They're very thin, so you got those LED lights. And then as you kind of make your way down, you got some air vents as well that are going to just bring air up onto that engine, keep it cool when you're out there, not only on the highway, but if you decide to take it off-road as well. These are all off-road capable, so you're going to have that ability as well. But again, timeless feature on the front. I love the look. I love the design. It's aggressive, performance-oriented, again, with that timeless luxury look. What makes a Range Rover unique on the interior is that they don't try and reinvent themselves every single time. Very simplistic interior. So although you have a lot of modern technology with a 13-inch, 13.1 to be specific inch infotainment screen, digital gauge cluster over here, a lot of buttons and knobs are meant to be simple. Now I'm going to give you some things that I like and some things that I don't like. First off, over here on the door, this is how you're going to customize your seating configurations. I like it. I like the ability to just, I know when looking at this, I'm looking at a seat. You know, this is very emblematic of what the seat looks like, but they're also push button as well. So if I want to hit 2, it's going to line it into memory 2. If I hit 3, it's going to move it into memory 3. But I do like the ability to adjust the seat very simplistically here. It also pops it up because there's a sensor on the screen up here. So I could adjust it on the screen, but I could also adjust it on the door right here. So that's a plus for me. Window features, all the same. Quarter panel, everything's pretty simple over here. You got the same colors that follow along the trim pieces all on the interior of the vehicle. You got Meridian speakers on the inside. Steering wheel has a little bit more of a luxurious feel to it, the way they've designed it. Range Rover right in the middle. You've got lane departure warning and front pedestrian detection. All that technology is built in. You also have some lane departure warning technology, and I do want to talk about that for a minute because that's going to be a knock on the vehicle. And not necessarily just for Range Rover, but just in general. And I'm going to do a separate video on lane departure warning just so you understand a little bit more about what it is. When you hear that term, lane departure warning means the vehicle has sensors that are meant to keep you inside the lanes of the road. But if you start to drift one way or the other, the steering wheel will jerk you back into the lane. This vehicle does that. I do not like it. I do not like being told how to drive a vehicle. I know how to drive a vehicle, and I get that it's a safety feature, but it's one that I don't particularly like. It's not really a knock on Range Rover because a lot of vehicles have that same lane departure warning technology. I just wish it was very easy to turn off because I would eliminate it from vehicles. I think it's more detrimental than it is being a great safety feature. Okay, so steering wheel layout, fantastic as well. Adaptive cruise control, heated steering wheel, voice command, audio adjustment, all on the steering wheel, fantastic. 13.1-inch screen, Apple CarPlay, it's connected to my phone right now. So that's great because if I slide this up right here, I've got wireless induction. I can simply take my phone, drop it into this little area right here. I can actually seal this up, and I have all the functionality of my phone now up on my 13.1-inch screen. You can see up here I've got my Waze, my Amazon Music, GPS. I have all the various features that I would use on my phone. I can use them up here. Again, hands-free technology. That's a big plus for me, and I think utilizing Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is absolutely fantastic. One of the knocks that I have on automakers is, do they make it hard for me to get back to the normal foundational screen? In the case of this Range Rover, it's really easy. I'm on Apple CarPlay. If I want to go back to their main home screen, I just hit the home button on the bottom left, and it takes me to the home screen. It shows me my EV function, shows me my media function, and if I want to get out of that, it's also relatively easy as well. I just go back to Apple CarPlay, and it takes me back into the function. If I want climate control, I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to start playing around with some of the buttons up here. I would tell you that I think their climate control, I do like knobs for climate control. I don't want to have to study the entertainment screen up here to figure out what to do. But they have it all kind of nicely tucked in on the side. So if I go to my home screen and then I make my way up, whether I'm in Apple CarPlay or not doesn't matter. I just have to hit the climate control where it says low over here, and it's going to open up the screen and I can make adjustments. So if I want it high, just hit the button up here. You'll hear it kick on now. There you go. It's kicked on. Or I can come down and bring it back to low, or I could completely turn it off. I like the idea of having knobs and buttons, but a lot of automakers are going digital with all of this stuff and integrating it into this home screen. So I'm not going to call it a plus or a minus, but it's something you need to consider as you start to take ownership of a vehicle. Is it easy to use? And I think that there's some things in here that are incredibly easy. I think there's some things in here that are going to require you to use your brain a little bit more to learn and truly understand what the features have. As we make our way down the center console, I have my wife drive this. Very easy. Start-stop button right here. She did look up here first, but once you kind of get your mind around the fact that it's here in the center, it's great. I'm going to do this because the car's on right now. Your park is here. You bring it down to put it in drive. You push it all the way up to put it in reverse, and then park is just going to be hitting the button right there. Nothing fancy. Very simple. I like the simplicity of it. Move your way down. You have 2 cup holders in here, and then on the inside, you have just a nice little glove box. If you want to plug your phone in, it took me a little bit of time to figure it out. The USB-C charging is actually based down here under this little center area. Tracy, who's shooting video, was like, it's an area for a small purse. And I'm like, what about a clutch? That's right. I know modern tech, female purses and stuff. It's a clutch. But you got your charging down here. And that was interesting because I was like, where do I plug in? So the cord comes out around this side. I probably would have located it somewhere in here to make it easy. Dashboard set up across the top. I always think about old school dashboards, how they start to deteriorate in the sun. They went with black up here with this kind of mixed material. I like it, to be perfectly honest. Feels really good. It's soft up on top. Tan down here on the centerpiece. Overall, the layout on the inside is cool. I do want to highlight this. They've gone with the same old school armrests all these years. My wife got in and she was like, if you spin this like this, take it all the way out. Watch this. See how it drops way down there? She's like, wait, how do I get, why is it not up here? And then I showed her, you have to spin it. If you just keep spinning it, there, now it's up. I kind of dig it. I like that they still have these in here. It kind of takes me back to the old school. Massive moonroof up on top, also pretty cool. And then let me just talk about the seats for a minute. If there's one thing Range Rovers are known for, that's seats that are very, very, very comfortable. These seats are super comfortable on the inside of this vehicle. I love the way they feel. I've adjusted them perfectly to my body, and I know that if I'm gonna take this thing and get out and drive on a long trip, these seats are gonna be super comfortable. I'm scared I ain't gonna fit in there. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, this is the biggest deterrent for me with a Range Rover, is the second row seating. There's just not a lot of space for me in here. So even though this is set to where I would be driving it, this is one thing they're not known for, and that is big second row space. I truly feel like Nissan may be one of the only automakers that have really figured out second row seating capacity. You have a 60-40 split on the seats in here. If I were to bring this centerpiece down, it's going to run right up against my leg right here. You have a cup holder right here in the middle. You have a nice little area in here if you want to drop your smartphone in, or just a little glove box right here. I like how it all seamlessly kind of folds away. You got heated seats, which I really dig. That's kind of cool for the second row. And then you actually have the ability to adjust your seat as well electronically. So I think they've gone and put all the right features in here. The problem is just, man, if you could have just moved the seats back another 4 inches, it would make it much more comfortable. And I know in the HHR, the larger versions of this, you've got more second row seating capacity. This is the Sport, so it's meant to be a little bit more linear, a little bit more focused on being smaller and compact. But I do know for me that this would probably be a deterrent for our family, because with 2 teenagers, they're not going to fit in this second row. Kind of an interesting fact about Range Rovers. Did you know that 80% of them are still on the road today? Like, all Range Rovers are on the road. And when we think about Range Rover, it's traditionally thought of as an unreliable brand, right? And it's kind of a stereotype that goes along with Range Rover, is that they're just unreliable, and that they're always in the shop, and that they're incredibly expensive to work on. Well, as we get behind the wheel of this 2025 version, I think what's most unique is the fact that this could be one of the most complex, complicated engine patterns that you've ever had with a Range Rover, because it combines internal combustion engine with a plug-in hybrid electric version, right? So you have electric meets gas all under the hood of this. So let's talk about that and what it means. Well, a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle versus a standard hybrid, like you think of Prius, a plug-in is that it actually has an outlet on the exterior of the vehicle where you can charge exclusively for electricity. It's kind of cool, right? So if you want to dip your toe into electrification, you can do that with a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And you also have an internal combustion engine under the hood. So you really get it all. You can, as I've always said, you can have your cake and eat it too. Really cool technology. If you want to go exclusively electrification in this, you can. You have up to 53 miles of pure electric. If you want to rock the internal combustion engine, you have a 3-liter i6 under the hood, or inline 6 under the hood. It's pushing out 454 horsepower with 487 pounds-feet of torque, and can tow nearly up to 7,700 pounds. That's a lot for a small SUV. So what's great is if you want to utilize that plug-in hybrid technology, you slam on it, and you know what? This thing has a little bit of giddy up. It's got that performance feel to it. It's all-wheel drive, it's got off-road capabilities, and it's a Range Rover, which means it's going to be functional off-road as well. It's not like fake off-road technology. And all of that is combined with a luxurious feel on the inside. That's what makes this vehicle so special, and it's one of the reasons that you see a lot of A-listers and celebrities driving it, is that you have that ability to take it off-road. Now, the flip side to the 80% of them being on the road and the fact that it has off-road capabilities is the fact that almost 100%, let's just go with a fun number, and I'll have to do more research on it, but it's got to be like 97, 98% of Range Rover owners never take their vehicles off-road. Active air ride suspension, another great feature. Hill descent control, another great feature. So when you want to think about going off-road, it's capable, but the reality is the majority of owners are not going to do it. The best way to test out the suspension, and this has active dynamic controlled suspension, is on a beautiful country road, which is where we're at right now. There's some really good turns up here so you can feel the active suspension. But remember when I was talking about the lane departure warning and the lane departure assist? So this is a very narrow road. And I mean, anytime I get close, you can see it. Anytime I get close, it's pushing me back. I hate it. I think it's so horrible. Watch, I do it again. And it pushes me back. Because watch, if I leave my hand on it and I start to drift towards it, I'm trying to compensate. I don't like that technology. But with that said, we're going to test out a little bit of the suspension here. It's a pretty sharp 90-degree turn. And you can just, this is an SUV, right? 5,500 pounds. It's very controlled. That's that active suspension kicking off with this. I'm actually surprised how well that kind of handles in those turns. We got another 90-degree turn coming up here. It's so smooth. Look at that. Just very little input with the hands. Boy, is it sunny out today. Very little input. And I think that's what makes the vehicle special, is that when you have that active suspension, it knows how to adjust in the turns. And you're going to pay that premium for this kind of technology, but it's worth it when you're buying a luxury vehicle like this Range Rover right here. I got one more 90-degree turn. This will be more of a slower turn. Again, it's just very methodical, linear. I like it. So here's what's interesting about the Range Rover. I almost think the enamor of the Range Rover is actually the price. Because if you take this and you stack it up against some of the other vehicles in this competitive segment, Audi Q7, Lincoln Aviator, the pricing of this is always just slightly more. So a starting price of just a Range Rover Sport, base level model, is about $83,700. The Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid electric vehicle starts right around $96,000. And then this one, fully loaded, prices tested as we have it, is at about $106,000. And I think what's kind of crazy to me is that they can command that price because celebrities and influencers buy this vehicle. But when I step back and I look at it, and I really have started to compare this to the Lincoln Aviator because I think it's such a well-balanced vehicle. The Aviator also has a price that's similar in range to this, but starts significantly lower at a base price. So if I had to rate this out of 10, I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10 because it really is the complete SUV. And the coolest part about it is that you do have a certain amount of brand identification, right? What do you drive? I drive a Range Rover. There's just automatically this personality and characteristic that comes with a Range Rover owner. So I give it a thumbs up, man. I think it looks great. I think it drives fantastic. I think the plug-in hybrid electric powertrain helps this thing be significantly more enjoyable to drive and faster. And gives it a more performance-oriented stance. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as we've enjoyed putting it together. Make sure you smash that subscribe button below. It allows us to keep bringing you guys great product reviews like this one right here. And if you're not following me on all my other social channels, pretty easy. Just go look for Chasing Horsepower, and you'll find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.